hello to anyone and everyone watching this. We are back for another episode of Innovating Instruction for New Media. And if this is the first time you're joining, what I'm doing is I am putting together a new media college course for a 100 level, so a freshman level college course on new media. And I thought I would sort of record my progress through it in sort of using new media itself in that way. And so far, I've gone through what was supposed to be the first 2 weeks, but it turned into the first 3 weeks. So we're actually into week 4. And we're going to be talking about how new media affects depictions of the self. Now, I'm learning as I do this as well. I do rely a lot on some of the information that I accessed through my master's program, and I apply it. You could look at the last episode and see what I mean by that. But I'm really trying to let the content direct me in the way that it naturally should go. And I'm using ChatGPT to help me generate ideas, and I'm learning a lot through that process. I thought I already knew a lot, but it's such new technology that you're bound to learn more and more about it. I have a simple Google Doc that I use to sort of record notes on, but then I also do simple searches with Google and Google Scholar to verify some of the reading material, because I'm trying to put together some reading material for my students to go through as well. And so that requires just regular online searches that you might be accustomed to. And one of the things I learned recently through this process is the limitations that AI has, specifically the language generation, the generative AI like ChatGPT. And it gives you good ideas, but they're sort of vacuous. They're vague. They need to be filled in more. And I appreciate that it does that work for you, but it doesn't do all the work. And I think that it will have wide-reaching implications, but there are definitely limits. People really should not be all that concerned about it, but it will definitely have an impact on people's workflow, just like you're going to be witnessing this time. Anyways, so let me get you caught up, all right? If you've already been here for all the episodes so far, then this is basically an update on how I modified the semester overview. So might as well go a little bit into it. So we start the first few. It started off with the first couple of weeks just doing basics, but I turned that into 3. The first 3 weeks, and this is a 16-week course. And what I did was I took the self, which was for 2 weeks, and I made that into a 1-week sort of section. And then I left the personal and the intimate. Now, one of the reasons I did that is because week 8 is probably about where midterms would be, and it would be nice to change sort of tone and direction at that time, have a little bit of a sort of a reason for it. So they're nice sections that you're covering for specific reasons. Okay. And then it gets into like more of so this is much more of a interpersonal level of how new media affects you, and this is much more of a social level, so first half and second half of the semester. And I really liked that, and I didn't want to mess that up, so I kind of made self a little bit less, and so and I wanted to keep the personal and the intimate. I think that a lot of the things that were discussed. Another thing was that I noticed when I was looking closer at the self, some of the issues were like privacy and echo chambers. I'm like, well, we're going to kind of cover that in the legal element later on, right? We have legal and ethical. Privacy is one of them. There was something about like virtual classrooms or remote education about the self. I'm like, oh, well, we have something that under professional as well. And so I was able to look at it a little closer than I did when it first got generated. And I noticed that these topics were largely covered in other areas. And it only left me with maybe a bullet point or two to kind of incorporate into this 1 week course. And I kind of like it. It looks pretty good. So that's what we're going to be um, doing right now. Now I want to kind of challenge. So here I have Chat GPT. What I'm using is the thread. Oh, I want to make sure I refresh this really quick. This is the same thread, the same chat that I started with in order to generate everything you see on this Google Doc. Okay, so the reason I want to do that is um, it kind of builds on itself, right? And so I want to see if it's uh, week 4 lessons. We're in week 4 now. Let's just do that. Let's see how good it is at that. Ooh, impact on self-concept, yes. Perceptions and judgments in online interactions. So we have class 7 and 8, and that's right. Wait, 7, 8, 9. Nope. Should only be algorithms and personal data, online personas, and identity. I think so. 7 and 8 should probably be okay. Uh, um, classes. So see, what I'm doing. I just said week 4 only has classes 7 and 8, and so it kind of just jumps in and creates another version. See, now it removed number 9, and so self concept. Okay, where's the online? Where's avatars? So there's social media self presentation, right? And so online personas, multiple identities. I like the multiple identity stuff. On self concept, perception. Oh, and so it just removed 9 is what it did. I think algorithms and personal data should probably be. I could probably cover that under privacy. No. Oh yeah, look at week 13. Week 13 only has 1 class. Equity and digital divide, privacy. No. Algorithms and personal data. Okay, so that might be a good thing to do. Later on. All right. So legal and ethical. Well, I think what I'm going to do is this kind of looks like it would be the same stuff. It looks pretty good. So algorithms and personal data and putting that with the scams and online security, but the privacy, intellectual property, freedom of speech, equity, access, digital divide. No, I think this one. Okay. Yeah. That's a little bit more about self-preservation. This is more about like just general legal questions that come up. Privacy and security. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That kind of works. It kind of works. Okay, the self, algorithms, personal. Okay, so we're going to, that one's not going to be there. So we do class 8. Boom. Seven, the self in the digital age, giving avatars. Here we go. week 3. So what we want to do is, let's not have any hanging bullet points. Let's create a new page. We're going to do week 4. What am I doing? Colon. New media and the self. Excellent. Okay. So we're going to, wait, I don't need that. I need this though. Oh, don't want that. 7. Oh, you know what? Let's just get this. Okay. That's good enough for sort of an outline, but we want to do a little bit more detail. All right. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right. So how did I do that before? Oh, okay. Let's 7 with lecture notes. So build it out with lecture notes for a 90-minute lecture, and add a suggested reading list. Okay. So lecture notes for class 7, I like doing that because it offers more detail and it kind of understands. It seems to be like a good term to use. The presentation of self in everyday life. So I'm kind of jumping down to the suggested reading list because I want to see what I'm looking at here. Man, I hope some of these sound really good. And so, but now you have to do the work of double checking, right? And so I'm building up this list of reading that I do, and I kind of double check the reading list in between episodes. I really reserve this time for, organizing and structuring what the day-to-day is going to be like. So far, it's been a lot of the lecture notes, but what I'm doing is I'm trying to put together. I'll put together a bunch of the lectures. I'm like, all right, now let's pick some moments to like remove a lecture, and then maybe that'll be one of the first ones that I record, and then I have that recorded and ready to go beforehand, and so I can just assign the recording with a consolidation of all the ideas and information that I want, in the way that I want it, but through video form, and then we have some sort of like activities or discussions in the class, right? We got to use, this is going to be a mass lecture, and I think I really like that design because then hopefully you get like over 100 students and you can use sort of the behavior of the class as a whole, and kind of reflect it back on them, like metadata, not personal info, or like at least describing the difference between metadata and personal data becomes a lot easier when you have, in my opinion, like I just see it more vividly in my head, the lesson coming out about what is the difference between personal data and metadata. Like how do we ensure that you don't mix the two or allow for the reversal of information, or you're able to extract personal information from metadata. And so those concepts are things that I'm aware of, but I'm not really, I haven't really delved into, and I'm keeping an eye out for them. And so I want to make that kind of come to life, in my opinion. Anyways, I'm sorry. Here we have a breakdown of social media self-concept and perception. I think I like that for class 7. Yeah, self-concept and perception, and then avatars, online persona, and digital identity. Oh, yeah, I kind of like it. It kind of keeps it fun. I mean, I think all these things can be really positive, whereas like the algorithms and privacy is scary, and not too much. I'm like if you're sitting there rolling your eyes, kind of going, "Oh, come on, they can deal with it." I'm like, whatever. If I have a choice in how I'm going to organize my class, I'm going to focus in on the positive things and get people engaged and interested, and prepared by the time I'm able to hit them with some of the heavier, more complicated stuff. And so that's the way I roll. And so I do like moving the algorithms and um, personal data stuff to the later time. And I think that's and there's it's a 2 week session, so I should be able to find a time within that 2 weeks to while dealing with legal and ethical things to demonstrate metadata versus personal data and how to identify them and stuff. Okay. Okay. I guess I'm just kind of talking myself into it, huh? Here we go. So class 7. Yay, greet the students. Introduction. We're doing social media self-concept and perception. Discuss the self-concept and support and understanding personal identity. See that is, of course, that's what I'm going to talk about. You're not really helping me. And so I could come back and ask for more examples, but sometimes it just doesn't fill it in for you. Let's do that. Let's see if there are. Okay, so I'm going to save this stuff as well. Okay, so and we're going to do boom. We're going to make this heading 2. Oh, we want to make this heading 1. Boom. And we want to make class 8 on a new page and heading 2. Boom. Now headings, like if I decide to like transfer this into like what if I make this into a textbook with chapters and stuff, and like these weeks kind of start turning into like different chapters, keeping the headings and the formatting and everything like that actually really helps in the very long term. So doing it at the very beginning when you're actually generating stuff and keeping notes, in my opinion, it actually saves you a lot of time, because the idea of going through a 50-page document or a 100-page document and formatting everything, like there might be some better, faster, more automatic ways of doing it, but like I kind of like getting into it and making it so from day one it looks formatted. Okay, here we go. Class 7, so we have that. Let's do oh, it says 90 minutes, so I think that's good. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take that whole thing and I'm going to put it down right below here. So now I come back, I highlight everything, I remove the formatting, and I'm going to take the note and I'm actually going to cut that and paste it 2 hours. Nope, not there. 90 minutes. Boom. Right under there. Boom. Okay. And so now it has its own set of lecture notes. Okay. Greet the students. Impacts of social media on self-concept, perceptions, and judgments in online interactions. Okay, we got to find some better stuff for that. Ethical considerations when managing self-presentation. Okay, so it has the general outline, self-concept and its importance, understanding self-identity. Well, let's start. So that is so generic. It is so vague that it doesn't even really give me search terms to enter into. And like last episode, I still have the search, like duality of patterning is an excellent example of like terminology or things that you can easily look up some really important publications on the subject. And this one seems a little bit more vague. Maybe it's because I'm trying to squeeze too much in 1 week. But we're going to have to drill down a little bit in order to get a little bit more detail and direction on where to go with this. So okay, so what I want to do is add detailed so I'm asking it to add detailed examples for the concept, right? And think about how different that is to write a prompt for ChatGPT than for Googling it, right? That is an excellent example of something where it's like, all right, I need a little bit more detail than you're giving me. Showcase research. Okay, so the impact on social media on self concept. So there's the introduction is the same thing, right? Discuss the concept of self concept and its importance in understanding identity, and explore how social media platforms influence individuals' self perception and self presentation. Example: showcase research. Now I'm like, what the hell's that? Is that a term? That highlight how individuals tend to selectively post positive experiences, leading to a distorted. Yeah, okay. So I'd love to find that article. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that whole darn thing in Google Scholar. Self-esteem. So notice how it does pop up some good stuff, right? That our close friends, the enemy, online social network, self-esteem, and self-control. And so that starts seeing, it might be a little bit more of next week about personal relationships. But there is, people tend to share mostly positive information produced by self-presentation. Let's see here. Every day, but little is known of their effect on behavior. In 5 experiments, the authors demonstrate that social network use enhances self-esteem in users who are focused on close friends, strong ties, while browsing their social network. This increase in self-esteem reduces self-control. Wow. Leading those focused on strong ties to display less self-control after browsing a social network. Greater social network use is associated with higher body mass index, higher levels of credit card debt. Research extends previous findings demonstrating that social networks primarily enhance self-esteem for those focused on strong ties during social network use. Additionally, this research that does seem very much a personal relationships thing. So I still want to. So I'm just going to copy that thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to think ahead to week 5 now, right? It's gonna be week 5 and 6, right? And so I'm just going to put that right there, and I'm going to walk away from it now. Let's see. So self-esteem. Self-esteem is like a part of your identity. It's a very important part. I just want something a little bit more on point. You know what I mean? Like, because we have a place for that. Is like I'm not. It's not like week 5 is the time to talk about that. You know, it's like it falls where it naturally falls. Don't force it. Let's see here. I could just ask what is showcase research studies, but let's take a look at the next one. Discuss the phenomenon of comparing oneself to others carefully curated social media posts, leading to feelings of inadequacy. Okay, like I do like that discussion sort of direction, right? It's like it's helpful. Like the I don't doubt that I would have come to a very similar sort of prompt given the time, but man, it just really helps when something just presented to you, you're like, oh, yep, that's a good one. So analyze the impact of curated online profiles and portray the portrayal of idealized selves on self-esteem and body image. Share studies that demonstrate the correlation between excessive social media use. Let's see, did it offer any cyber effects? Is it the same? Goffman, cyber effect. Yeah. It's the same thing. At sources. All right, let's take a look here. Boom. Identity construction on Facebook. I like that one. It'll still be kind of old school for them. That's pretty cool. Let's take a look and see what the thing is that. So here's how you start thinking like a researcher. Okay, this one's definitely old, right? Like we're looking at like 15 years old for this, and you're like, wow, that's a really great on point thing, but it's just Facebook, and Facebook has it taken on a new type of identity since 15 years ago. But I bet you anything, people have cited that when they updated it. They're like, Facebook is old, and they want to do a new article. Let's see if it's cited. Okay, first let's double check and see that this is a correct 2008 Zhao and Grasmuck and Martin. Zhao Grasmuck Martin. Okay, I hope I'm saying that right. Oh wait, no, it was here. Computers and human behavior. Computers and human behavior. It just didn't have the. Okay. Cited by. Look at that. There you go. Cited by over 3,000. Right. That's exactly what I thought. Last week, I think that we're looking at like dozens of hits, not thousands of them. And so this is a excellent find right here. And now this is what I love about Google Scholar. There's like that you look at everything that cites that one particular thing. So, and addiction lessons learned. Oh, this is great. Search within citing articles for let's do a quoted the self, because remember that means let's even capitalize the self. See here, architecture, personal interactive homepage, constructing the self through MySpace. Oh, that's fun and old as hell. Okay. Managing image, the self praise of celebrities. I see I'm getting gold now. I like that. That's pretty cool. Personal identity and the self in the online and offline world. Okay. Triangulation of the self identity process in a connected area. Huh. Okay, so these are great. Let's take a look at, let's see if it's still great, if it's recent. 22. Being beyond the reality principle through production and consumption of the self in the digital realm. About the digital created self in shared personal. Ooh, the self in social media. PDF. Let's see what this is. Oh, dissertation. Okay. I do not recommend dissertations, and this looks Dutch. Okay, so yeah, yep. Okay, literally Dutch. I'm not even joking around. So there we go. ProQuest. So sending the expression of self and the artistic voice in the community college. Nope. The dance classroom. Nope. Consumer self-concept and digitalization. What does this mean for brands? I want to keep the branding out of it. Self-posting and the influence of self-esteem in university students. Some mediating mechanisms. Maybe not, huh? Let's see if we could get something. Okay. Managing self-praise celebrities on media. So you like people don't always like talk about themselves, and I don't want to make them, feel like they're obligated to discuss themselves in an open forum that way. So having a discussion about how celebrities present themselves kind of make it, you know, sort of a interesting middle ground where you can still talk about how people present themselves with, and therefore kind of becomes like a third person literally that you're using to demonstrate rather than like right away getting into that deep part. But then by midterm you might be able to make that an assignment where it's like a really deep exploration in the self after you've gone through personal relationships, and it's mm, so what I want to do is self-concept, uh idea, um um, so the I want to be careful about this though. Like I want people to feel comfortable um, while they are doing this, and so that is an interesting. Oh, another idea. So I'm going to have two ideas. Um, to log. This was an idea that I had, um, and you are allowed to restrict the audience as much as they like, as long as the professor enters through grading. So what I mean by that, students are um, allowed to restrict the audience as much as they like, as long as professor has access through grading. So there's no like I kind of like this one I might like a lot more. All right, so like how to set up a blog, and so that would be like a identity. How do you like what's your blog about? You know what I mean? And that is a nice sort of, you get to create whatever you want. And if you don't want anyone to see it but me, I promise you, I am bound by FERPA laws that I can't share that type of information. And I don't want to share that type of information. I don't want to lose your trust in that way. So I will do what I can to keep that trust. And which is just way more valuable to me. And so, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the assignment right there. But I do have I left myself a couple of notes about um, some ideas to do to make the idea of the self come alive. You know what I mean? And so, and maybe you have like a certain amount of posts that you have to have before a certain date, and then like there's yeah benchmarks. I like that. because then it's like a journaling assignment, but like using new media. And yeah, and so just like there's no obligation to share personal information if you want it to be something like if the, I don't know, let's do an example. They want it to be an anime blog. There you go. That's an anime blog, but you have to, yeah. I have to play with that a little bit more because I want them to be a player in their blog, and I don't even know what I mean by that yet. But they have to be a character, a part, an active participant in their blog. They can't it can't be written. Oh, so it has to be like maybe it's just a first person blog. I'm gonna put that down. Okay, that's the self. Okay, all right. That's good old fashioned brainstorming right there. All right, that's what you just saw was like me not necessarily doing anything. I used all this information to kind of help generate an idea. I do like the first person blog idea, especially with the caveat that you can restrict the access as much as you want, and you can talk about whatever you want. You just have to talk about it in the first person. Interesting. I hope that's okay. Sometimes I have ideas that I think are really good and they turn out not to be all that good later on. So let's take a look at avatars, online personas. All right. So now do a 90-minute lecture for week 8. Include detailed examples, cite sources, suggest additional reading. All right. So, and I'm gonna kind of just probably just accept one of the first things that it gives me when it pops this out now. Legal and ethical. Wait, class 13, not week 8. Nope. Now for week 8, for class 8, save and submit. There we go. So I don't want that to be part of my thread. I don't want that to be added to it. So I go back and I edit the where I made the mistake. And so it was right. Week 8 is class whatever. So avatars and virtual representations. This is gonna, oh man, this is gonna be so fun because I have avatars that I use, and I like using the AI like creations that come out. I would love it more people did that. I think it's like, yeah, I like the way this looks. It's not even this is how I see myself. It's like I can see myself in that image and it looks good. So that's not the same thing. I think people should be really proud of how they look in the AI generated art because it looks like you. All right, pick the ones that look like you, but that are awesome, and it shows you how awesome you look. The Proteus effect, the effect that transforms self-representation on behavior, human communication research, 2007. Jeez. You know what? Make sure all sources are no more than 5 years old. Let's see. Nope. See, didn't do it. No, see, it still has 2007. Whatever. Okay. Well, but see, I already showed you how you can get more and more recent things, starting with one publication and then tracing it to a more recent publication that might be a little bit more applicable. Okay, so I'm just going to save this. I'm gonna call it a day. Okay, boom, boom. Okay. And remember, you always take the time. If like you're saving so much time generating the information, take the time to format. Okay. make this legible, so when people are looking through your records, you're like, oh my goodness, look how organized this person was. Oh, okay. All right. So we got the self kind of taken on a little bit. So it's more like I'm just kind of talking about the planting a seed about the self, not really prying, but acknowledging that's a good place to start, right? And not really getting into it, and I'm kind of sprinkle like the whole class is going to be about yourself. Your personal relationships are about yourself. Your intimate relationships are about yourself. Your professional life is about yourself, right? And so um, it's just kind of like, okay, this is going to be a big part of the remaining of the class. And so it kind of makes it so at the end of the first quarter, we've really gone over just the fundamentals, including the self. If you include the self as a fundamental, then there we go. And now we could start getting into the different applications. And that would be, personal, intimate, professional, legal, social, political. And so all those different applications, kind of stem from this solid foundation that we're trying to build in the first 4 weeks. And we're trying to keep it light and engaging and inviting, and giving people an opportunity to get to know each other a little bit, and interact, maybe start forming new cohorts, and that becomes illustrations in and of themselves later on throughout the semester. I kind of do the similar thing with my group class, where I have a mass lecture and I try to get people to and I form them into different task force and things like that, and it illustrates group dynamics rather than just lecturing students about group dynamics. So I think this is taking on a really similar sort of feel and tone about it, where the mass lecture, and then you're using the dynamics of the students to illustrate the content itself. It's I'm sure other people do it. I don't know what that technique would necessarily be called, but feel free to suggest anything, and I'll think it over. All right. All right. I'll see you next week.